Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, and today I just got my new Creality CR-10 SE 3D printer, and I'm printing a backward curved plenum fan. These are really efficient centrifugal fans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a RC BLDC motor with a 3.17 millimeter shaft diameter. There's the shaft right there where it's supposed to be inserted into. It's keyless shaft, so it's not going to be keyed, unfortunately. I'll have to find a way to properly weld it, so I'm going to have to get a super glue of some sort that's compatible with metal, and that way it'll work. Because I want the plenum fan to be permanently on the motor unless the motor needs to be replaced. Now, there's a downside of semi-hermetic installations because you'll have to replace the whole thing, including the motor. And that's okay. So I don't need this to be non-hermetic. This is a neat 3D printer. Also, it has this bar sensor limit switch. And there's the other side right there. Those are the limit switches. It's really neat. Creality better filament plan. I have my optional fan running. It turned on for me and I turned it down. Here's the touch screen. It's only at 1%. It has a keypad. We're going to turn it off for demonstration purposes. It's a case fan, so it can go up to 12,000 RPMs. Now here's the highest speed it could go. And it is really loud. It sounds like a miniature vacuum cleaner. Here's the exhaust side if I could feel it, which I cannot. These are a special type of NEMA 17 servo motor. It's a high precision stepper motor. It's way more high precision than the other Ender 3D printers. They're going to start doing this with almost all of their 3D printers, hopefully, inshallah. This one is the hottest out of this one. This is also a dual stepper motor X-axis. No, is it? Might be X-axis. I don't know, but this one's not even that hot. The motors are different sizes. This one's actually, one of them are the largest. This one's the tiniest. Another, probably medium size. Now this is a 4234Z. So this is the Z-axis. Both of these are the Z-axis stepper motors. So definitely want to get the information off of there for that. That motor is neat. Look at that. It's a nice motor. Here we got a Z-axis here and a Z-axis there. I'm definitely getting these motors. I'm going to also get these for a project. And it will just be amazing having high precision stepper motors. Or I'll get a hybrid stepper motor and involve a keyed shaft for my next plenum fan. But I'm going to have to make the fan this large, and I'm going to be making it a box fan, so that means a 150 millimeter fan or 200 millimeter fan, and then the box is going to have to be 250 millimeters. No, that won't work. The box is going to have to be 210 millimeters, and then we will have a 180 millimeter fan or something like that. But this is just really amazing. Anyways, the motors on here are nice. I love the high precision servo motors. I also like this overhead LED lamp. It gets really hot though, so I do have to shut it off eventually after the video. But this is just the temperature will get hot at, and it feels warm here since this is the flexible plastic side. And here is the filament sensor to tell us if all the filament's out. Now here's the fastener for this. I love the blue color. This is I don't know how many inches this touchscreen is, but it is really easy to pop it right out. Female on the touchscreen, male on the touchscreen base. USB-C to USB, so this does serial and USB communication. Unfortunately, my Creality Sonic pad right here was dropped. And I'm not the one who dropped it. One of my family members, not saying who and I'm not saying what role they are, made a mistake of dropping it while rearranging the basement. And I don't blame them, but the whole thing, they were like, there is no possible way. That one hit, I accidentally dropped it on, took out the screen. The screen is not leaking, but the membrane that was on top of it, the screen no longer responds to any touches, anything. It's no longer responsive. But the screen still turns on. That's a good thing. Also has this tray here. Adjustable idler pulley. See, here we have the, I forgot what you call these. These are the selector tape switches. That's an elevator term, but these are actually selector switches. The selectors are also on here too. No, they're not. This is a electromagnetic limit switch. It's the CR Touch. And there's that hook. It's very easy to push in now. You can insert your filament in there. It also has a bunch of wire harnesses. I did not take off some of the instructions and warnings. So that says, please do not unplug the wire. No, please do not plug or unplug the wires while they are energized. So that means when the unit is energized, you do not unplug or plug in anything that was missing, because it will cause a fault. I did not do that, but it may cause a fault. I'm going to set this back to 1%. Even as that fan icon when it's running. When you're heating it up without printing anything, it shows a trend chart. The trend chart's only temporary. I changed the parameters on the Creality print software, just so every time I put a model in, it's going to heat up to this exact temperature that is compatible with my filament right here, because it can only take 215 to 230 degrees Celsius, 25 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius plate temperature. I set it to 60 degrees Celsius because I'm just doing maximum temperature, minimum temperature for filament melting, and maximum temperature for bed filament melting. It doesn't show a picture of my 3D model. I gotta find out how to do that. So I do want it to do that, but it did it for the built-in models that came with this on this card. And this is a 15 gigabyte. So now it is printing locally because it just imported automatically to here when I started to print. We have 2 hours and 24 minutes remaining until this is finished. I have my spare screws and tools in here, and a little bit of the packaging I'm keeping now. This is 115 to 230 volts, so there's some sort of step up, step down switch in here, or power supply of some sort. But if you live in a country and you just set this to 115, that's a self-destruct you've caused to this printer. Yet, if you live in a certain country, that Right here, this will be considered the self-destruct button of this printer, or the self-destruct switch of this printer. That will destroy the power supply and everything that this printer runs off of. Now that switch right there, it's got a very smooth click. I'm not disconnecting that. It's the model number if you're wondering. Sorry, I had my water box that I 3D printed there. I gotta reprint it though, but that's not the final product. CR-10 SE. I got inland filament. Next, I'm going to be trying out Protopasta's magnetic filament because it is going to aid in a certain project I will be doing. Now, I honestly wish I could get a refrigeration compressor because I am going to be building a water-to-water or air-to-water heat pump. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to be building a water-to-water heat pump or air-to-water heat pump. I want to try to also have it simultaneously heat and cool, just so I can make the tiniest demo model water heater and chiller. I want it to be able to heat up to 100 something degrees, and I want it to be able to chill the water to underneath, meaning underneath and or over its freezing point. That's what I want to do. I'm 3D printing this because I'm getting ready to make a hydronic air handler. So it's a unit air handler, meaning that it's like the ones used in commercial buildings. And I'm going to be experimenting with this. The controller, I'm going to also build the controller enclosure because I want to also put the drive in there. So I'm going to build an enclosure for the drive. And I'll put the disconnect in there. And I'll mount it on the air handler because this is a brushless DC motor. So the frequency converter is going to be located inside. And then also it's going to have its own controller. I plan to put a touch screen in it. I'm going to program it a certain way. And it won't, I'll try to make it where I could change parameters of the motor. I want to be able to change any and all of its speeds. Putting this at a certain voltage can burn out the motor. So we want only 12 volts DC. Although this motor takes lower than 12 volts DC, it'll convert it down. And it is very sensitive to voltage. It will go so fast depending on the amount of voltage you put on it. So it's definitely a variable speed motor, and I love that. I absolutely love that. I've never experimented with these types of motors. I will be, so I'll try to get it for Eid, I'll try to get it for Christmas, and I'll be printing a lot of these backward curved fans. I'll try to print up to 9 of these, including the box that I'm about to print next after 2 hours and 21 minutes. But I'll come back longer than that, so I'm not going to be back at the exact 2 hours and 21 minutes. It goes to sleep after a certain amount of time. I set it to 5 minutes. Unfortunately, they don't have 30 minutes and then it will go to sleep. That's not how this one works. I like how that's turning a bit blue. As you can see the better filament plan right down there. It's a rainbow. It's rainbow. See, this is the motor that has the hottest temperature right now, so it's extremely hot. I don't recommend reaching over here just to touch it. I'll do it on the side. It is extremely hot. It's radiating the heat. But it's indirectly heating the air, thankfully. So it's not directly heating the air radiantly. So my apologies for saying that it was radiant. It really isn't. I love the fact that it prints so amazingly. Like, look at how reflective it looks. So yeah, I really recommend this 3D printer, but I'm not a big fan of this brand. I want to get Bamboo Lab next if possible. That way I'll be able to have like 4 spools of filament as a backup filament or bypass filament, whatever you'd like to call it. But yeah, so far so good with this 3D printer, except for the fact that there was a little bit of scratching due to the fact that I did not have it leveled properly. See right here? And there are the touch points. It says warning hot surface on both sides. This is the filament point. Now, I like how it's flexible, so I'll have to take this off. And here's the motor I'm going to be getting. It's a JMT motor of some sort. Shaft diameter, if I could find it, 3.17 millimeters. I apologize if this thing is insanely blurry. I don't understand why. But yeah, the camera lens are properly cleaned. It's something else. 3.17 millimeters. And then I have the heat exchanger. It's a water to air heat exchanger. It's the tiniest one I could find. It's a water cooled. It's for PC or CO2. See right there. I might have to change brands depending on reliability. So I have to make sure this is like a 4 to 5 star model, but I don't necessarily want it 5-star. So I'm just gonna get a thermoelectric Peltier because it is just too expensive to get a full-on refrigeration compressor and copper tubing just to make this. So I'll get the Peltier. I may not get the Peltier. Yeah, an elevator enthusiast is having a hard time taking criticism. They're having a hard time taking criticism on Discord. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a 12-volt refrigeration compressor and then charge it with R134A refrigerant. Now, I don't recommend handling these high global warming potential refrigerants without adult supervision, but that's what I'm going to be doing apparently. Now, I do not want to just get any refrigeration compressor I see. This is probably the tiniest reciprocating refrigeration compressor. Now, it can also do heating and cooling. What I want to do is I want to modify that tubing. I don't want the refrigerant going everywhere in the air because it could do that. I want to modify the tubing where I'll get a water to air heat exchanger. No, water to refrigerant heat exchanger. And I'll get both of them and I'll make this simultaneously heat and cool. Now, I could only build one chiller unit, but I want to connect 2 chiller units. And they're going to have reciprocating compressors. But I want them to be scroll compressors. I want them to be centrifugal compressors. I'll try to get that conical screw compressor if I could, because I do want it to be helical rotary screw. I kind of prefer that more than just, you know, a non-screw compressor. I don't like reciprocating compressors much. It has to be a specific type of reciprocating compressor. Plus, they're insanely loud. So here's a conical screw compressor, the tiniest one I could find here. Now, I know I was getting off topic, but this is the tiniest conical screw compressor I could find. It might not be refrigerant compatible, but it depends. Look at this extremely tiny screw compressor. It is a screw compressor. See, conical screw compressor. It's neat looking. I wish it was helical rotary screw compressor because you cannot use plastic in refrigerants. You cannot use plastic with refrigerant. That's not going to work. The refrigerant will be vapor and melting temperature. When it's simultaneously heating while cooling, it will be liquid. So yeah, we're going to attempt to make the tiniest water-to-water cool chiller. And it just depends. Again, it just depends. So I want to... The heating side is going to be the condenser. Cooling is the evaporator. But in case if we had to, we could do heat recovery by bypassing the cooling tower. Yes, I'm going to be 3D printing a mini cooling tower. It's going to be only compatible for glycol and water. So I'll have glycol mixed and water mixed to prevent freezing, because this can freeze at any time. And yes, I'm recording this off of an iPad. I don't know what model this is. This has like probably a 10.1-inch touchscreen. I don't necessarily record off of Apple products, But I'm doing this for a reason. But yeah, that's just the bottom line. So I'm just gonna find some more miniature refrigeration compressors, and they cannot be reciprocating. I want to find the tiniest screw refrigeration compressor. So that looks like it's made out of plastic. I'm not sure if it's metal. I'm going to try to find it, then I'll get it, and I'll see if it's metal. And if it is, we are good to go. But I'm going to have to try to find out how to make the copper. I'm going to have to try to reduce the copper. Now, this is a process cooling mini refrigeration system. I don't want that. I don't know what type of compressor this is, but it looks very neat, though. Look at all those sizes. See, these are probably all reciprocating. I could tell. That looking neat. Ooh. We might not be able to do simultaneous heating and cooling. It all depends. That's a miniature refrigeration compressor, and it needs to be 12 volts or 24 volts. I did find a 12-volt refrigeration compressor, but that's reciprocating, and I don't want it reciprocating unless if I have to. It might be a scroll compressor. It depends. I'm just unsure. So I want to find... All right, let's go ahead and find this. I want it to be just a mini screw compressor that's made out of metal. It needs to be 12 volts. So I want to... Otherwise, I might have to find a metal 3D printing service that is going to be able to metal 3D print my screw compressor, but I don't know how to assemble a screw compressor is the issue. See, that's a 7.5 horsepower mini screw compressor. And I'm not talking about these large air compressors I'm looking at. This is a miniature conical screw compressor. It's so nice, though. Oh, they got a metal one. Okay, we're good. We're good. They got a metal one. We're all good. All right. I'm going to have to find this somewhere. I know they have this somewhere. They have to have this compressor somewhere. We know it. And let's hope we don't get much refrigeration leaks, because we can't just trust all products. And I get that, because I want to try to source these products from mainly reliable companies. So this is what I am getting, if I could find it. A brushless DC conical screw compressor. That's what I want. Otherwise, I might just get a hydraulic gear pump, a mini hydraulic screw pump as the compressor. Let's do that. RC screw compressor. RC screw compressor. Let's see. Let's see if we can find that. I'm going to try to find RC. I'm going to use it for something else other than RC, so I'm just going to find it. RC compressor. RC compressor. Better find it. Nope. All right. RC screw pump. If I can find it. We might have to just make a gear compressor. That might just be what we're going to have to do. So yeah, I'll try to do all my research. I'm not just going to do it here. Oh wow, it's much taller. 2 hours and 10 minutes remaining. 2 hours and 9 minutes remaining. Now, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. TKE Safety Ambassador out.